Browns Nation, we had a matchup this Sunday that didn't exactly go our way, with the Browns making a lot of mistakes and underperforming. So let's talk about that and the big topic that stole the show, Deshaun Watson's injury. But before we jump into today's big news, go ahead and hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any breaking updates on your Cleveland Browns. Trust me, you're going to want to hear this one. Okay, let's get right to it. Deshaun Watson's season is officially over, and it's not just because of performance issues this time, it's an injury. Watson tore his Achilles tendon in Sunday's loss to the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Browns have confirmed that he's out for the rest of the year. This is the second straight season that Watson hasn't finished due to an injury, and honestly, that leaves the Browns with some serious issues on the field. Watson went down in the first half of Sunday's 21-14 loss while trying to make a run when his Achilles tendon gave out. It was a non-contact injury, but as soon as he hit the field, it was clear something major had happened. Watson was visibly in pain, and as he was being carted off, there was a mix of boos and cheers from the crowd, a reaction that sparked outrage among players and coaches. An MRI on Monday confirmed what the team feared: Watson's Achilles tendon is torn and he will need surgery to repair it. The Browns have said Watson is expected to make a full recovery, but with Achilles injuries, we're looking at 6 to 9 months before he returns to the field. For context, other players like Aaron Rodgers have had similar injuries and used advanced surgical techniques to speed their recovery. But so far, it's unclear whether Watson will follow a similar path. This injury is a major blow to an already struggling Browns team. Cleveland is 1-6, having lost 5 straight games, and now they have a quarterback dilemma on their hands. With Watson out, who will take over as QB1? The options aren't exactly promising. Right now, it looks like it could be Dorian Thompson-Robinson or Jameis Winston, but things are complicated there, too. Thompson-Robinson injured a finger on his throwing hand while replacing Watson on Sunday, and his status is still up in the air. Coach Kevin Stefanski said they're waiting for more information on Thompson-Robinson's injury and that the team is actively looking to sign another quarterback as insurance. Could it be Joe Flacco's return? That's something we'll be watching closely. The long-term implications of Watson's injury are even more profound. Browns fans, let's be real here, Watson hasn't been playing anywhere near the level the team expected when they signed him to that historic, fully guaranteed, $230 million contract. This injury adds to a growing list of frustrations with Watson's performance. In the 5 games he's played this season, Watson has posted a QBR of just 21.0, one of the worst in the league, and the Browns haven't scored more than 20 points in a game. Ouch! The fact that the Browns are still locked into paying Watson $46 million in each of the next 2 seasons stings even more now. The team gave up a lot to bring him to Cleveland, 3 first-round picks and 5 overall, but Watson hasn't delivered on the field. Stefanski has been pressured by Watson throughout his struggles, and on Monday, he didn't waver in his belief in the QB. When asked if Watson would return as a starter next season, Stefanski said, "Obviously, I believe in Deshaun, but we feel bad for him right now. He's had a tough time with this injury, and we know he'll bounce back." Still, it's hard to ignore the growing rumors that the Browns may be considering drafting a high-profile quarterback next year to secure the future of the franchise. There's also the fan reaction to consider. Some of you probably saw what happened at the game. As Watson was being let out, there was some cheering from the crowd, a reaction that didn't sit well with Watson's teammates or coaches. Star defensive end Myles Garrett spoke out strongly, saying, "We should be ashamed of ourselves as Browns fans for booing someone and his downfall." Even Jameis Winston chimed in, "I'm very upset with the reaction to a man who's had the world against him for the last 4 years." These reactions highlight just how divided some fans feel about Watson's presence on the team. His off-field issues, sexual misconduct allegations by more than 24 women, the settlements, and his suspension for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy have undoubtedly cast a shadow over his time in Cleveland. And while he's been able to settle most of those lawsuits, the shadow of those events still lingers. In the short term, it's about survival. Can Thompson-Robinson or Winston step up and give this team a chance to win some games? Or will the Browns go out and pick up a veteran free agent to help them get through the season? Long term, it's about Watson's recovery and whether the Browns can continue to build around him despite the lack of results and significant injury concerns. Watson has had several injuries in the past, including surgeries on both knees while at Clemson and Houston, and now this Achilles injury adds to that list. Ultimately, Browns Nation, the Deshaun Watson saga just got a whole lot more complicated. So what do you think, Browns fans? Is it time to start looking for a new quarterback in next year's draft? Should the Browns stick with Watson and hope he recovers next season? And how do you feel about the public reaction to his injury? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear from you all on this. Now on to the subject of Myles Garrett trade rumors, and yes, you heard that right. With the NFL trade deadline just 2 weeks away, the Browns are getting calls about our reigning Defensive Player of the Year. Teams around the league are asking questions, and that has Browns Nation buzzing. Now, before you panic, don't worry too much just yet. According to insider Albert Breer, it's highly unlikely that Garrett will be traded. But the fact that his name is being mentioned is shocking, because Garrett is the cornerstone of our defense, and he's having another incredible season. However, with the Browns at 1-6 and 2 tough games coming up against the Ravens and Chargers, teams are wondering if the Browns are considering a move to build for the future. One thing to keep in mind, Garrett isn't the only player getting attention. Rumors are also swirling around veterans Zadarius Smith and Jack Conklin. Smith, who has been a solid contributor on defense, could bring value if the Browns are looking to recoup some draft capital. Meanwhile, Conklin, who has been dealing with injuries, could also be on the table if he proves healthy enough before the deadline. But trading Garrett? That seems almost unthinkable. His presence on this team goes beyond stats. He's the heart of the defense. And let's be real, if the Browns trade Garrett, it would signal a complete rebuild, something Browns fans certainly aren't ready for. What do you think? Should the Browns consider moving on from Garrett if it means building for the future? Sunday's loss to the Bengals was overshadowed by Deshaun Watson's Achilles injury, but let's not forget the big moment many of us were waiting for. Nick Chubb's first game back after a brutal knee injury that kept him out for more than a year. And let me tell you, Browns fans, it was exciting. Chubb received a standing ovation when he was introduced before the game, and chants of Chubb, Chubb, Chubb echoed throughout the stadium. You could feel the love and support coming from the stands. On his first carry, he picked up 2 tough yards, nothing flashy, but it was all about shaking off the rust and getting back into the swing of things. He finished the game with 11 carries for 22 yards, a rushing TD, and a reception for 10 yards. It wasn't a monster game in terms of stats, but that wasn't the point. The goal was to see our beloved Chubb back in action, healthy and ready to play. Coach Kevin Stefanski made it clear that they were being cautious with him, using him sparingly in the second half. It's a long season, and the team wants to make sure Chubb's return is managed carefully so he can build his confidence with each game. Even star edge rusher Myles Garrett praised the decision to ease Chubb back into action, saying it was a smart move to keep him healthy for the long haul. And I think we can all agree on that. We need Chubb at 100%, and watching him throw that touchdown was a reminder of why he's one of the most beloved players in Browns history. But as always, Browns fans, we have to ask the tough questions. With the Browns at 1-6 and the playoffs now looking like a distant dream, what does the future hold? Will we see more trades before the deadline? Is Chubb's return the only bright spot we can hold onto for the rest of this season? What about Deshaun Watson's injury and the future of our quarterback situation? So, I want to hear from you guys. Should the Browns consider trading Myles Garrett if the price is right? Or is he simply too valuable to let go no matter what? And how do you feel about Chubb's return? Could he be the spark this team needs, or is it too little, too late this season? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future updates. We have a lot to keep an eye on as the trade deadline approaches, and I'll be bringing you all the latest right here. Go Browns!